on the Central Bank Tiger Network from Learfield. Live from Harpo's, the Missouri Bar and Grill. This is Tiger Talk with Robin Pingeton.
Pulls up from three and hits it. Holy cow, Abby Schreck.
Now, here's your host, Brad Trinago.
Randall cuts her off, pokes the ball away. Slaughter scoops it up. Here comes Mizzou with 8. Slaughter with 7. They're going to play it. Slaughter in the corner now with 5, with 4. Goes to her left with 3, with 2, with 1. Has to shoot it. Down with the left hand. Good! Mizzou pulls it out at the buzzer. Grace Slaughter, the hero. The SEC drought is over. Good evening and welcome to Harpo's in downtown Columbia Tiger Talk with Mizzou Women's Hoops head coach Robin Pingeton joining us less than 24 hours after a thrilling 78-77 victory over Mississippi State last night here in Columbia. A little bit later on, you're going to hear from the young lady who hit that shot, Grace Slaughter, as well as her teammates Ashton Judd and Avery Kroenke. So happy to be with you here in Harpo's in downtown Columbia with the head coach of the Tigers, Robin Pingeton. Coach, thanks for being with us for the next few minutes. It's been a challenging start for your team in SEC play. What did it take last night to finally break through?
Well, first of all, your voiceover is just amazing. You do an incredible job, and I could listen to that all day long, so I appreciate everything that you do for us. But really happy for the players. It's hard. Adversity is hard, and we talk about this all the time. And right now it's basketball, but it's so much bigger than that, and it's how you continue to show up every day. And pretty soon it's going to be the real world for them. And so just the consistency of just trying to, look yourself in the mirror. What are the minor changes that we can make? What can we own individually and collectively, and how do we continue to just push forward in a really, really tough league? And so we felt like, in all 6 games, there was windows where it just got away from us, where it was a 4 or maybe a 2-possession game. And then it quickly went to an 11-point game in those stretches, and we couldn't stop the bleeding quick enough. And so we actually, this last week, broke down all 6 games and kind of when that happened, talked about our mindset, about just our body language, how we responded to adversity, talked about the fact that, you score, you like to get stops, but they score no problem. You just keep it moving. But when we don't score, it's even that much more important to be able to get a stop. And so it's just really cool to see these players continue to show up. I thought they really played a gritty game for 40 minutes and just apply some of those things that we're talking about in film sessions. So great win for our team. Really proud of them. It's a great group. And sometimes it just takes a spark to get a fire started. And so hopefully we can continue to build on this.
Hopefully that will be the case starting this Thursday night at 5th-ranked Texas. That'll be an 8 o'clock tip, by the way. Then the Tigers back home Sunday afternoon against 18th-ranked Tennessee at 2 o'clock. Let's go back to those final few seconds of the game last night. You had 2 timeouts in your pocket. You get the stop, which we'll touch on here in a little bit. But I wanted to start by asking you about the decision not to use one of your timeouts after your defense forced the turnover. What's going through your mind there in that closing stretch?
Yeah, so let's go back one possession before that. Abby Schreck hit that big 3 for us. It was a 4-point game, cut it to 1. They went down, called timeout. And, we knew we didn't want to foul. We just really wanted to, try and get a stop and not put them at the free throw line. But we told them at that timeout that we were not going to call a timeout. Typically, a lot of teams do. And the official even asked, hey, coach, I need to know, do you want a timeout on the rebound to advance the ball? And we just felt like we had enough time left to play in transition. I think in this league, transition is where you really want to spend the majority of your time at before defenses can get set in the half court. And it also allows teams to change up their defense. It's like they could be in man, and then all of a sudden you call timeout, you drop a man play, and they're in zone. I've seen so many times in so many games where even a steal on the inbounds pass. It happened to us at Georgia, right? We called a timeout, Felt like it could have been a foul. I feel like it was a foul, but they didn't call a jump ball, and then it's their possession. And so if we had the ability to play in transition, we really want to make that happen. Grace was having a tremendous game for us, and I trusted our players to be able to execute in that situation. And I thought, just the poise that she played with off the pivot and hit a big shot for us, and just a great way to seal a hard-fought victory.
Certainly was. We're talking with Mizzou women's hoops head coach Robin Pingeton here on Tiger Talk. That basket from Slaughter doesn't happen, though, unless Lanaya Randall forces Mississippi State star Jerkayla Jordan into a turnover at the other end first. Randall finished with 4 steals. She had several other deflections. Oh, by the way, she also scored 14 points. How valuable was L.A. last night?
Yeah, it was a great team win for sure. I thought several key times, big possessions that, we executed. But I thought Lanaya's defense was outstanding. She's been really good for us all year long. I think she loves a one-on-one matchup. She takes a lot of pride in it. She's got quick hands. She's got good athleticism. She's got good strength that people can't just back her down. And we actually watched in film today with our players. There was 3 or 4 possessions of that where there was a lane line drive that Lanaya was able to get a tip on the ball. One time it resulted in Avery Kroenke diving for it, went out of bounds. It was our possession. One time it was a tip, and they ended up getting it in a scrambled 3. That's just going to happen. You're not always going to get the results you want. But she did a really good job defending those direct line drives, and that was a huge play by her. Everyone wants to talk about Grace's shot, which we should be, but there were so many pivotal moments in that last stretch, and just really, really happy for the entire team.
Something else you spoke to me about post-game was your players not allowing any big run from Mississippi State to deflate them. And that included a stretch at one point. Mississippi State was up by 9 in the third quarter of that game, but able to come back and ultimately win the game, of course, at the buzzer. Where does that resiliency come from?
Yeah, again, I just all credit to the players. We talk a lot in the locker room, and, I think they're internalizing a lot of the conversations that we're having. We're watching film. Like I said last week, we took the first 6 games and talked about the stretches and what happened in those stretches. We didn't score. They'd come down and get an and one. We didn't score, they'd come down and get an offensive rebound. The most important possession is when we don't score is to being able to come down and get a stop. And so for them to be able to, kind of internalize that and understand that, they were talking about that a lot throughout the course of the game. In those huddles, dead ball situations, heard the communication in regards to the importance of this has to be a stop. We got to lock arms right now. This has to be the stop. So understanding it is a game of runs, but you cannot allow a 2-possession game to get to a 4 or 5 possession game and not be able to respond quick enough.
Mizzou women's hoops head coach Robin Pingeton with us for a couple more minutes this segment here on Tiger Talk. Only 10 turnovers last night. How important is that ball security, especially in an SEC game?
Yeah, it's so important. And, we talk about it a lot. I think that's probably one of the more frustrating areas for us because we've proven that we can do that. You break down our turnovers. We talk about it with the team. We've started to put just trying to figure out a point of emphasis for our team to understand how important it is that we don't have those live ball turnovers. And, we're playing against great defensive teams, very athletic young ladies that are future WNBA players or pro players. And so you're going to have turnovers. There's going to be steals. They're going to make great plays. But, the handful of turnovers that are self-inflicted, that we just get sped up, that we're not playing with pace, or just getting lackadaisical with the ball, those are the ones that we have to eliminate. And so it was a huge key, as it always is, going into this game. And just talked about, what Mississippi State's able to do defensively to other teams, and just the importance of controlling that pace. And I thought our players, I think we ended up with 10 turnovers.
Yep, 10.
Which was outstanding. But the fact of the matter is they can do that consistently. It's you just got to slow down and not let other teams speed you up.
Are water bottle showers in the locker room after a win the best showers?
Absolutely. It was so good to see the joy on their faces and in their hearts. It's such an incredible group of young ladies, and they just work so hard. They do so much more than what's required. They keep showing up. They're winners. I mean, they're going to be so successful in life, and it's fun to be in that locker room with them, to travel with them, to get stuck on the road for a week at a time. But they're just an incredible group of young ladies, and I'm really, really proud of them.
So what happened in the locker room? Did they just jump you as soon as you came in there and just drenched you, or what was like? I mean, your hair was pretty moist whenever you came back out for postgame. They had a sneak attack.
You come in the locker room, and they were pretty quiet. They're all sitting around, and I thought that was a little strange, but good. I guess they were humble in their win. I didn't know for sure what was going on, but as soon as you turn the corner, and then everybody's screaming and dancing and having a party. So, it's fun to see the fruits of their labor pay off for sure.
Well, congrats again, Coach, and we'll catch up with you again at the end of the show, okay?
Sounds great.
Robin Pingeton, head coach of the Tigers, with us here at our host of Tiger Talk for basketball season, Harpo's Bar and Grill, located in downtown Columbia, a staple of downtown Como since 1971, now featuring a new food menu. Check out the daily specials and the expanded space to host your next event. If you're unable to join us here at Harpo's, of course, you can watch Tiger Talk live locally through the family of networks through KMIZ, and in the St. Louis area through the family of networks on KMOV. Additionally, you can watch and listen live on the Tiger Radio Network, Mizzou Athletics Facebook and YouTube channels, and all episodes of Tiger Talk are going to be up soon too on the Inside Mizzou Athletics podcast feed. The young lady who put in last night's buzzer beater, Grace Slaughter, joins us next. Tiger Talk on the Central Bank Tiger Network from Learfield.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
The most powerful ideas come from understanding. By asking what's important here. At Great Southern Bank, we start by asking our customers to find out how we're doing and what they really need. Then we get to work, making banking easier and more effective, financing more flexible, and our communities better places to live. It's an ongoing team effort to keep improving how we serve our neighbors day after day. And it all starts with understanding what really matters. Learn more at GreatSouthernBank.com. Member FDIC.
It's time to get back into routine that focuses on you. Move better, feel better, simply live better at Wilson's Fitness. Escape reality in the indoor saltwater pool. Detox from the saunas or heat things up with our hot yoga. Wilson's is here to support you, motivate you, and help smash your goals with group fitness classes, personal coaching, and endless amenities. Move better, feel better, simply live better at Wilson's Fitness in Columbia. Visit them at wilsonsfitness.com.
At Shelter Insurance, we believe insurance should adjust to fit your needs. That's why our agents work with you to design an auto, home, and life insurance plan that's particular to you. Insurance that fits just right. And Shelter is known for our award-winning customer service, satisfied customers, and a plan for you. Isn't it time to check Shelter out? Find an agent near you at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Tigers fans, say aloha to Hawaiian Bros Island Grill, where the island-inspired flavors are positively delicious. You'll love favorites like huli huli chicken, marinated in their signature teriyaki sauce, or luau pig, featuring tender, slow-roasted kalua pork. Bounce by after the game just south of campus on Grindstone Parkway, or order at HawaiianBros.com. Hawaiian Bros is open late and ready to serve you with aloha spirit. Hawaiian Bros, it's a vibe.
Tiger fans, do you like to gamble? Well, gambling's exactly what you're doing if you have your home or business electrical installation done by a contractor who's not qualified, trained, and insured. Don't take the chance. Be safe. Be certain. Use only IBEW contractors to do your electrical work. The stakes are just too high for anything else. You can depend on your hometown IBEW and IBEW contractors.
Back on Tiger Talk, Harpo's downtown Columbia, talking Mizzou women's hoops throughout the 6 o'clock hour. Then we'll switch to the men's side coming up at 7 o'clock. Tiger Talk brought to you by Shelter Insurance, ranked number 1 in customer satisfaction for auto insurance in the Central Region by J.D. Power. 6 out of the last 7 years. We're your shield. We're your shelter. 6 out of the last 7 years. That's why they're one of our premier partners. Big thank you from Mizzou Athletics to our premier partners, both Shelter Insurance and MU Healthcare. We welcome back for the second consecutive week a sophomore from Grain Valley who had a pretty decent shot last night. Grace Slaughter with us for the next few minutes here on the show. 6'2" wing, a career high 31 points, including a pretty important one right at the end of the win against Mississippi State yesterday. Grace, thanks again so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good stuff from you. Let's go back first to the last final seconds of the game. So Lanaya Randall pokes the ball away on defense. You're there to scoop it up. Now take us from there, from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, taking us back to that timeout, Coach P had just told us that our transition was working really well for us that game. And after this defensive stop, we were going to have just play in transition, and we weren't going to call a timeout. So I remember, LA had a great steal, great defensive possession, and we wouldn't have gotten that opportunity without it. So I remember driving in and not really feeling like I had anything, so pulled it back out. And I remember Avery's voice specifically, just kind of hearing like 5, 4, and it's like, it's time to go. And so drove it back in and went to the left hand.
Did the shot feel good when it left your hand?
I was kind of nervous, actually, because I felt like I was behind the backboard. But the dog pile was the confirmation I needed, so.
It certainly was. We're talking with Grace Slaughter here on Tiger Talk. Have you ever had a buzzer beater similar to that in a game in your life?
No, I haven't. So that was a fun moment.
Pretty cool, huh? So how would you, out of a scale to 1 to 10, is that a 10? Is that pretty high up there?
Yeah, that's a 10. It's awesome.
Well, in the whole game, a career high 31 points for you, career high 10 made field goals on the night. So what was working for you, from basically the opening tip, not just the final seconds?
Yeah, I would just say the team. I mean, we work so hard, and I know our coaches do such a great job of helping us feel prepared going into the game, so we get to just play free. And, we have really emphasized, especially in this bye week, just trying to put together 40 minutes and winning the categories we need to win to put together a whole game. And, my teammates did a great job of just helping me get open looks and being, if you have the hot hand that night, then that's a good thing. But my teammates did a great job on the defensive side and offensive side. It
had been 8 days since your previous game. You hadn't played since the previous Sunday, the 19th at Auburn. What did the team work on during that time leading up to the ultimately the win against Mississippi State? Yeah, no, I think we worked on a lot of things, but some things I can specifically remember would just have to be turnovers and then protecting the boards offensively and defensively. We really pride ourselves on tagging, which just helps their transition offense and us getting matched up. And so if we can do that effectively, that helps us be more matched up and ready on the defensive side. And then turnovers, just being able to have those extra possessions and opportunities to get more points. We're speaking with Grace Slaughter here on Tiger Talk after she scored a career-high 31 points, including the basket at the buzzer to defeat Mississippi State last night. What does a win like this mean with more than half the SEC schedule still to come? For sure. I mean, it's a big one. And I mean, we started off, 0-6, but being able to have that 1-0 mentality, or going into that game, we were 0-0. So being able to have that bye week and just work on things. And, I think we came in with a lot of energy. And I think the coaches touched on it, just everyone was really dialed in, especially in shoot around, and I think that led into the game and just having high energy. But I think that just gives us hope. We finally get to see the results on the scoreboard, which is awesome, and I think we can just keep on carrying that into the next games. You mentioned this was your first buzzer beater. What was it like to be at the bottom of a happy dog pile? It was heavy, but it was good. It was fun. Well, I was going to ask you about that. So let's go through the play-by-play of that part. Who tackled you first? Were you able to see, or was it just like a wave of white jerseys? I knew for sure it was first Avery, okay, and then I kind of started falling backwards. And I think Angie was the tipping factor of it all. But yeah. Any bruises for you? You come out of that okay for Texas? Yeah, we're good. That's good. That's a good thing to hear. We're going to need you down the stretch. Grace, congratulations on a great moment last night. Good luck the rest of the way. Thank you. Grace Slaughter joining us once again here on Tiger Tiger Talk. Our thanks to her. Our thanks to Central Bank. Show your swagger with the Tiger checking card from Central Bank. The only place for Tiger checking. Open it today at centralbank.net. Mizzou's other leading scorer in SEC play, Ashton Judd, joins us next on Tiger Talk from Harpo's in downtown Columbia on the Central Bank Tiger Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, know it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said,
if it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Tiger Talk continuing from Harpo's in downtown Columbia. Brad Tornago with you for the women's hoops version of the program. You can partner with the Tigers and the Food Bank, the official charitable partner of Mizzou Athletics. Visit scoreagainsthunger.org to learn more about the Score Against Hunger campaign presented by MPICS. And a reminder, this episode of Tiger Talk, along with other great content and episodes, are available on the Inside Mizzou Athletics podcast. That's presented by Shelter Insurance. Be sure to subscribe today wherever you listen to podcasts. You can hear from Matt Michaels and me weekly. You can also watch on the Mizzou Athletics Facebook page. Believe it or not, we're going to be talking a little Tiger baseball on this week's show. The Mizzou softball season starts next week, which is still pretty hard to believe here in the heart of winter. Feels like basketball season, certainly outside still, and we're going to continue talking about hoops here with a 6'1 junior from West Plains. Say hello to Ashton Judd joining us for the next few minutes on the program, having another solid season for the Tiger ladies, scoring in double figures once again. Let's go back to last night's win against Mississippi State. What was your vantage point on the floor for Grace Slaughter's game-winning shot?
I feel like I had the perfect perspective. You know, I was kind of behind the play watching her go to her left hand, and at that point, like, I had all the confidence in the world in her. I mean, once you give Grace her left, it's over. So I knew she was going to make that shot.
Were you the one who called the last shot, or was me? Were you was it too much yelling from you last night, too? Is that where the voice issues are coming from?
I was just... My voice? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't sound great, but I mean, I was just going to let Grace go to work. I was going to think maybe I could get in a position to get a rebound if it didn't go in, but yeah, I didn't need to.
And you sure didn't. What can a win like this mean for the program?
Yeah, I mean, like Grace said, just had a rough start initially in the beginning of conference play, and we've got a lot left. I think we have 3 ranked opponents coming up, so just gaining some confidence going into the second half of play is big for us, and especially just being able to execute in a game like this coming off of our bye week, I think is just really rewarding, and just to see, our work pay off, because I think we've been working our ass off all season and just haven't been able to see that that side of it and regards to the scoreboard, so it was nice to see that last night.
Ashton Judd joining us here on Tiger Talk. Your scoring numbers have actually been up against the generally tougher SEC competition and as compared to non-con. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the individual production has been up a little bit as we've gone along?
I don't think it's had too much to do with the competition. I think it's just more like my personal mindset, obviously just a challenging start to the season, just not where I wanted to be, but I think I just, tend to put a little bit too much pressure on myself in situations like that. So I think my biggest change was just coming into games and trying to play more free, let the game come to me, just thinking more of like a team mindset and just involving my teammates, doing what I can to, get them shots, get them the ball, defensive stops, and stuff like that.
As I mentioned, you're a junior now, but you've got the most on-court experience on the roster in a Tiger uniform. Is that weird for you to be all of a sudden in that veteran role with this group now?
As far as experience goes, yeah, maybe a little bit, but I feel like just last year kind of trying to take on that role and help Frankie out maybe in that aspect, just because we graduated a lot of veterans from my freshman year, so it's not entirely new, but I feel like as the years have gone by, I've had to take on more of that leadership role.
What are some of the things you learned from the veterans during your younger years, like a Haley Frank, who you just mentioned? Some of those lessons that you're now passing along to some of the younger players on the roster?
I would say the biggest change would just be, I feel like last year Frankie kind of had that role to herself and took on a lot of the burden, did a lot of that stuff by herself, and I think whereas this year everybody's kind of taken on that role. We have a lot of older girls, Lanaya, Naya, Grace takes on that leadership, Avery takes on that leadership, and I think it comes from everybody at different points in the game and practices and, off the court. So
we're talking with Ashton Judd here on Tiger Talk. You had a great high school career, capped it with a state title at West Plains as a senior, but you did not have a lot of major college offers before Mizzou came along. How did your relationship with Coach Pingeton begin?
Yeah, it was honestly kind of late in my recruiting process, but I grew up watching Mizzou. It was always close to home, a close Power 5, and so once we started kind of developing that relationship, I took a lot of interest, and the biggest thing for me in the recruiting process was the relationships I was able to form, because I knew it was bigger than basketball. At some point I would stop playing, and kind of the connections I was able to make and where I could get outside of basketball was going to be the biggest thing for me, and I felt like she genuinely cared about me as a person and what I wanted to do outside of basketball, and she was willing to help me achieve whatever that was, and that was the biggest separator for me.
You've been a key part of the rotation basically ever since you set foot on campus. Do you remember your experiences as a true freshman and your first big non-conference games, your first games against SEC competition, moments like that?
I remember my first game period, and I was so nervous.
Right.
I was so nervous. I remember Haley Troop at the time had to come up, and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, not really." I was like, "I'm pretty nervous," and she was like, "It's fine. It's normal. You can do it." And ever since then, it was smooth sailing for the most part. But I was pretty nervous coming into it. Just the the level of play that the SEC has, and it's a big change of pace just from high school to college. So.
You mentioned Haley Troop, who we got a chance to see actually at Alabama. She's coaching at the University of North Alabama now. Haley Frank was obviously a key mentor for you your first couple of seasons. Are you still in touch with a lot of the former teammates?
Yeah, so obviously able to see Troop when we went to Alabama, and I keep in touch with Frankie just how she's doing over in Germany. special thing for her, and I think she's doing really good right now.
We're talking with Ashton Judd here on Tiger Talk. So you're a business major now, still thinking about maybe law school down the road?
Yep, that's a potential, yes.
That's pretty brave for you. Are you going to try? I guess it kind of depends on how things shake out, and who knows what the college athletics landscape is going to look like even 6 months from now, let alone 2 years from now. But is there the possibility that you'll try to balance basketball and law school simultaneously?
100%. I'm praying that they pass the thing and I can get 5 years. I can get my school paid for.
Well, whenever basketball is done, and hopefully it's a long way away from now, but whenever basketball is done, what are some of your future goals professionally?
I think as of right now, just once basketball is all said and done, obviously pursuing law school and just getting into that. But honestly, outside of that, I haven't really narrowed it down.
You got some time, though.
Yeah.
Your dad played college basketball. Your mom played college volleyball. Was it always basketball for you, or did you think about volleyball or other sports too?
Basketball and volleyball were like my two main sports in high school, and I just, at a young age, I was always kind of like better at basketball, so I ended up taking to that. But volleyball was just like a fun little side quest to kind of get my mind off basketball, so it wasn't a full 365 days a year type of thing.
Well, at a really young age, was there a little bit of gymnastics in there too?
There was, believe it or not. I was a little bit shorter and I was a little bit tinier, so it worked out.
Well, I was going to ask about that. Was that your decision to ultimately give up gymnastics? Or were they saying, like, hey, this whole 6 foot thing, it ain't going to work out?
Well, thankfully for me, I didn't really hit a growth spurt until like sophomore year of high school, so that wasn't an issue. But I'm pretty sure my gymnastics group like moved buildings without telling me, so I just like had to quit. So that was the end of the story for me.
That's pretty cruel right there.
I know.
So do you still have some of the moves? Can you bust out like backflips or anything?
Absolutely not.
That's not your thing anymore?
The flexibility was gone. All of it was gone.
Are you still roommates with Avery Kroenke, who we're going to hear coming up?
Grace, and Hannah.
Oh, so you're all in it together.
Yeah.
How's Avery Kroenke as a roommate? Just between us.
Just between us? Actually, no, I'm just kidding. I love Avery. I know we've been roommates since freshman year, being in the dorms, and it's been crazy how much our relationship developed. I feel like we weren't really that close our first semester, and then second semester, just like things were happening, our classes aligned, we were going to a lot of stuff outside of basketball. But just our relationship has just taken off in the past couple of years, and I'm really thankful to have her.
Thankful to have her healthy, too, and out there on the court also contributing. Good stuff there. So we're going to have Avery come up next. Thanks a lot for your time, Ashton. Always appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is Ashton Judd joining us here on Tiger Talk. And like I mentioned, we'll check in on Avery Kroenke. We'll see how swollen her face is now. That's coming up next. Tiger Talk from Harpo's on the Central Bank Tiger Network from Learfield.
You could call it swagger. You could call it a vibe. You could call it confidence. You could call it cool. Or you could call it exactly as it is, Tiger Pride. Show your Mizzou spirit with the Tiger Checking Card, only from Central Bank. Sign up today at tigerchecking.com. Central Bank. Strong roots, endless possibilities. Member FDIC.
It's time to get back into routine that focuses on you. Move better, feel better, simply live better at Wilson's Fitness. Escape reality in the indoor saltwater pool. Detox from the saunas or heat things up with our hot yoga. Wilson's is here to support you, motivate you, and help smash your goals with group fitness classes, personal coaching, and endless amenities. Move better, feel better, simply live better at Wilson's Fitness in Columbia. Visit them at wilsonsfitness.com.
Oh, did you get us switched over to shelter insurance?
Actually, I found a deal online.
You did? Does your deal come with award-winning customer service?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Does the deal include a local agent?
Doesn't actually say.
Can we create a customized plan that fits our needs? Let's just call the local shelter agent.
For insurance that fits just right, find a shelter agent near you. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Tigers fans, say aloha to Hawaiian Bros Island Grill, where the island-inspired flavors are positively delicious. You'll love favorites like huli huli chicken, marinated in their signature teriyaki sauce, or luau pig, featuring tender, slow-roasted kalua pork. Bounce by after the game just south of campus on Grindstone Parkway, or order at HawaiianBros.com. Hawaiian Bros is open late and ready to serve you with aloha spirit. Hawaiian Bros. It's a vibe.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Tiger Talk continuing from Harpo's in downtown Columbia. We're going to hear from Avery Kroenke here in a second. From the creators of Beatbox and Peachtree Catering, check out Belly Market and Rotisserie. Enjoy one of Belly's massive sandwiches with house-smoked meats, a delicious salad, or daily specials. The new dinner program offers seasonal plates, fresh seafood, and new bar offerings. Tell them the Tigers sent you. You can get a special treat. Genteel is now the apparel provider of the Tiger Radio Network. Check out the new collection of Mizzou apparel, available now at genteelapparel.com. It's also at Bingham's in downtown Columbia the next time you're in town for a game. Check it out. Genteel Apparel, a proud partner of Mizzou Athletics. She is a 6-foot guard. She is from right here in Columbia, Mo, by way of Lincoln, Missouri. Please say hello to Avery Kroenke. She's going to be with us for the next few minutes. Avery, thanks for joining us. How's your face?
It's doing pretty good, as the days went on, more black and blue keeps coming, but, I feel like it makes me look tough, and kind of like I was telling you, my parents are super positive. The first thing they said to me after the game was, we're really glad you didn't break your nose again, because for those of you who don't know, I've broken my nose twice already. So this would have been the third time. So this I can deal with.
This is literally the first possession of the game. So, just seconds after tip-off, somebody from Mississippi State catches Avery Kroenke. Well, you can tell where she caught her with the elbow, right in that general area. Wound up playing 30 minutes anyway, so able to power through it. Did it affect, your vision or breathing or anything whenever it swelled up?
My right eye kind of would get a little bit more narrow. I could definitely sense and feel the swelling on the side of my face, but when adrenaline's rolling in you, you don't notice that type of stuff at all.
No, it's worked out pretty well. 4 assists and no turnovers last night for Avery. She's one of the top 20 in the country in terms of assist-to-turnover ratio. Has done a terrific job protecting the rock. Injury, nothing new for you. You have the situation right now. You've broken your nose a couple times. You missed all of last season due to a foot injury. So how good does it feel to be finally out there and playing every game?
Yeah, I'm so excited to be back. I love this group of girls. I love the coaching staff. And, when something's taken from you, you really realize how much it means to you and not to take it for granted. And every day is just a blessing that I get to go out there on the court.
We're talking with Avery Kroenke here on Tiger Talk. Like I mentioned, top 20 in the nation in terms of assist-to-turnover ratio. So what's been the key for you specifically in that aspect? Taking care of the ball, getting the ball to your teammates for buckets.
Yeah, I think the assist-to-turnover ratio thing, it's a two-way street. I have to make the pass, but, my teammates got to make the shot also. And I'm surrounded by great offensive players who knock shots down at a really high percentage. And then handling the ball, just being strong with it, using my pass fakes, trying to keep the SEC defenders at bay. So just doing anything I can.
And then on the other end, we've already talked about how special Lanaya Randall is for this team defensively. But you and a newcomer, Nia Wilson, have also done a really good job, I feel like, at a guard spot being disruptive. What are some of the keys on the defensive end for this team?
Yeah, we have a lot of really good defenders, and kind of like what Grace has talked about is, we really are trying to take more pride in our defense, and when we don't get a score, that's when we really need to come down and get a stop, and playing every defensive possessions like it's the last possession of the game.
Avery Kroenke is our guest here on Tiger Talk. So let's go back. You grew up in Lincoln. You started out there and then eventually moved to Columbia?
Yeah, so I lived in Lincoln from the time I was born till going into my freshman year of high school. We moved to Rockbridge, and everyone from Lincoln still fully supports me as their own, and I'm super appreciative to them, and I still consider Lincoln a part of my home and where I'm from, so that's why I'm happy that I get to list both, because Columbia and Lincoln are both my hometowns and where I'm from and who I want to represent.
Sure. You had a great career at Rockbridge High School, co-state player of the year, I believe, in Class 6 your senior year. You actually got your diploma in Mizzou Arena, which I always thought was pretty cool. Were you thinking during your graduation ceremony, I'm going to be playing on this floor in a few months?
Yeah, that thought definitely crossed my mind, and it's really cool for me that I didn't have to go far to come to college, and I just remember being really excited and ready to go.
You've got family members who have attended Mizzou also. Was there ever any thought for you that you were going to go anywhere else once Mizzou opened that door to you?
Not really. Early in the recruiting process, I kind of was like, well, we'll see what happens, but then once Mizzou offered me, it was like 2 months later I committed, and I was all in from there. This is my dream school for sure.
Avery Kroenke is our guest here on Tiger Talk. You've stayed busy even when you've been out due to injuries. You made the SEC Community Service Team last season. Congratulations on that. You've been a member of the SEC Leadership Council. Why are those off-court activities important to you?
Yeah, Coach Pete always talked to us about, life outside of basketball and using basketball to prepare us for life. And so I just think, I'm in a great role and opportunity to impact lives off the court. And I just want to do anything I can to help other people and just, share God's love with everyone else.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the SEC Leadership Council? What are some of the things that y'all are talking about? Who are some of the people that are a part of that?
Yeah, so each SEC school sends one representative, and we meet at SEC headquarters, which this year we met in Dallas, but their headquarters are actually in Birmingham. Mm-hmm. And we discussed different things. They brought in SEC refs this year so we could kind of pick their brains and report back to the teams, maybe different stuff they were looking for, rule changes, situations like that. We discussed different things like what we liked about the SEC tournament, what we didn't like, stuff we would want to change. And then it's also just really cool getting to meet and interact with these different players across the conference who we see each other on the court a lot, but, we never really talk outside of that. So that was a really cool opportunity.
Well, you mentioned getting a chance to talk with SEC officials. Some referees, they reviewed that situation where you got elbowed in the face. They ruled it incidental contact. You didn't schmooze well enough, apparently, in the preseason. Avery, what was the deal there?
Looking back, maybe if I would have fell, I would have gotten the call, but, that's just not how I play my game, and I didn't think it hit me that hard, so I was just going to keep playing and, let the cards fall wherever they may.
Whenever you're done with basketball, what are some of your future goals?
Yeah, so right now I am studying to be a speech pathologist, and that's something I'm really looking forward to because growing up I had speech, and they really worked with me to improve how I talk, and I just think it's a great opportunity to help other people, help people grow. So that's one of my main goals, and I really want to travel a lot. All my money right now I save to go travel the world, so I'm really looking forward to that.
What's the main place you want to go?
Oh, probably Bora Bora would be the main place, but I got to backpack through Europe, do all that stuff too.
Well, you got to hit up Helen Hu from Mizzou Gymnastics. She did that for a year and came back, and now she's getting perfect tens on the beam. So apparently it's something that can really help out your game also on top of that. I talked with Ashton Judd already, mentioned that you guys have been roommates for several years now. What's that been like to grow that relationship with her also off the court?
Oh, Ashton's one of my best friends, we've been through a lot together, especially coming in as freshmen. It was just the two of us. So, we were kind of taking on the world together that freshman year. And she's just one of the nicest people I know. She's always looking out for me, always going to do anything she can to help me. And we live together now. So, she's one of the closest people I'll ever have to a sister. We've lived together the last 3 years, and I love that I get to play with her every night.
Well, Grace mentioned earlier here on Tiger Talk that she could hear you yelling 5, 4, 3 at the end of the game where Grace ultimately hit the game winner against Mississippi State. What was your vantage point for the game winner last night?
Yeah, so when LA made the great defensive play and poked the ball out and Grace picked it up, I was just trying to give her space. And then when she started going into her Barkley and then towards the left side, I knew it was going in. I had a great viewpoint. And then my next thought was just rush her as quickly as I can. So
and pick up another black eye, maybe, if it ends up happening. Avery, congratulations on a great season so far. It's so good to see you healthy and out there, and keep kicking butt, okay?
Thank you.
That's Avery Kroenke joining us here on Tiger Talk. We'll look ahead to a tough week and some tough mothers with Coach P coming up next. Tiger Talk on the Central Bank Tiger Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time-to-talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
How's business?
Good. Are you up to speed with the new beneficial ownership reporting requirements?
Sort of. What's it about?
It's a new initiative to help fight crimes like money laundering, fraud, and drug trafficking. A lot of small businesses like ours just have to report some basic info to the federal government about the real people behind them.
Reporting your company's beneficial ownership information is quick, secure, and free. And it helps protect U.S. national security. Learn more at fincen.gov/BOI.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Another teenager, victim to fake pills bought from social media. This doesn't seem like a drug deal, but it definitely is. Should buying prescription pills be that easy? Many fake pills contain fentanyl, and an amount small enough to fit on the tip of a pencil can be lethal. So listen, before buying pills from social media, think again. Learn more at McGruffPSA.org and go for real. Brought to you by USPTO and the National Crime Prevention Council.
Yes! I finally got my first phone!
It is exciting. Let's learn a few things about online safety first.
We can secure our world. Online security depends on you and me. Install updates, make better passwords. Think before you click. Use multiple factors. That's how we can secure our world.
Learn more at CISA.gov/secure our world.
Everyone has a community, a neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. Community members can be your eyes and ears when you're not with your kids and alert you to signs of potential problems. Learn more at talktheyhearyou.samhsa.gov.
Back on Tiger Talk with Mizzou women's hoops head coach Robin Pingeton. Again, her team in action at Texas coming up Thursday night, back home against Tennessee on Sunday afternoon. We don't have any of her assistant coaches with us tonight. When we do, our assistant coach interviews are powered by Socket Fiber. Get the fastest, most reliable internet around with our friends at Socket Fiber. I mentioned the game on Sunday against Tennessee. That's also National Girls and Women in Sport Day. There's going to be a celebration for that coming up. There's going to be a student-athlete Q&A and a rotating sports clinic in Hearns before that game against the Lady Vols. So you can check that out from noon to 1:30, and then you can head over, of course, to Mizzou Arena for the Mizzou and Tennessee women's basketball game. Get more information on that at mutigers.com/NGWSD, short for National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Coach Pingeton back with us now. We already talked a lot about Grace Slaughter, especially last week. So let's go to the other two young ladies who we just heard from. Avery Kroenke, how valuable has it been to finally have her out on the floor and fully healthy for a full season so far?
Yeah, I'm just so proud of her. I mean, she is a young lady that is very passionate about the University of Missouri, extremely selfless in everything that she does. She's got an incredibly special servant heart, just wants to impact and make a difference, to help, to elevate, and whatever that needs to look like. She's all about team first. And, I think a lot of times we forget that last year at this time she wasn't even practicing. Her injury did not allow her to be on the court until the spring, summertime, and she did the most she could. She did a lot of chair shooting and ball handling and things like that. But the fact that she's playing at the level that she's playing at, despite the fact that she had so much time off, really it's like her first run through the SEC playing against just really, really talented young ladies. And so pretty awesome to see what she's been able to do. And I feel like just with every game that she gets under her belt, she continues to grow and really has a high ceiling. Young lady that likes to watch film, that wants to be coached, that wants to be challenged, wants to do whatever she can do to help elevate our team.
And now I know we're going to Texas, but I feel like no one's going to want to mess with her when she's got the black eye.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
When you first saw that, I mean, you mentioned this postgame, actually. You felt like, seeing Avery Kroenke's reaction to that. I mean, again, she went on to play 30 minutes after the black eye. Her reaction to that, you felt like that helped set a tone.
I really do. I mean, she is such a tough young lady. She's going to just leave her heart and soul on that court, and do whatever she can do, however she can do it. But she got that the first play of the game, and when she came over, I didn't want to, alarm her, but I was a little alarmed because it blew up in a hurry, and I thought, oh boy, I'm not sure what this is going to look like, but she was a warrior, and she just said, we got to keep going and whatever I can do to help our team. So pretty tough young lady, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Robin Pingeton joining us here on Tiger Talk. Ashton Judd, we heard from her too. She scores 14 points last night. She also adds 8 rebounds. And, we talk a ton about her offense. And, at the start of the year, it was like, not quite up to her standard. And now it started to come along. But, it really goes beyond that with her, right? I mean, her defense and rebounding can be really big assets.
Yeah, Judd's a warrior. Feel really blessed to have her on our team. She's a fierce competitor. She's very passionate about what she does. Just like several others, has an incredible work ethic. Really has invested so much outside of what's required in regards to watching film, getting in reps, trying to make sure she's taking care of her body, but does have the ability to impact the game in so many ways. Certainly offensively can score on 3 levels, but defensively, with her athleticism, with her strength, she can guard multiple positions. Very, very strong rebounder for us. And I just think the way she carries herself, her leadership, she wants to impact the team in any way she can. It's always been about team first and wants to be a fearless leader for us and has really embodied those qualities for us. And so I know she didn't start off her junior year maybe the way she had hoped, but I think a lot of times when you invest so much, you put so much pressure on yourself. And so we just needed her to take a deep breath, exhale a little bit, settle in, really keep things simple and build on it from there. But what a special player she's been for us in her time here at Missouri.
So the big win against Mississippi State on Monday, and now you're going to start taking a tour of the top 25, basically starting with number 5 Texas. The Longhorns have Madison Booker, one of the best wings in America. She's got a lot of help on Vic Schaefer's team too. What do you think it's going to take to keep things rolling down in Austin on Thursday night?
Yeah, it's just got to be a 0-0 mentality. We've just got to continue to grow and learn and value the ball. That's a huge part of it. Understanding the resiliency that we've got to play with, that next play mentality to be able to do the next right thing and not allow those stretches to happen for us. But really, you've got to win the small victories, and it's one possession at a time. The first 5 minutes, the media timeout, the first quarter, and just continue to build on it from there. Again, we've got a tough stretch. 7 out of the 9 games are going to be top 25 teams. The SEC is loaded this year, as like they are every year. But I just think it's the mindset that we've got to come in. We've got to be gritty. We've got to be connected. We've got to trust that ball movement. And defensively, our ability to really follow the scout and put 40 minutes together.
So that's Thursday, and then Tennessee, ranked 18th in the country, coming up on Sunday. The Lady Vols head coach is now Kim Caldwell. She was back on the sidelines last night for her team in the game against South Carolina that was going on at the same time as your game. And she was back 1 week after giving birth to her son. You had your second child very soon after you got the job here, right?
I did. Yep. So with Blake, my oldest, I was back in the office the day after he was born.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
I don't know what she was doing, but kind of a slacker in my opinion.
The day after.
Yeah,
well, it's funny. You talk about, it's like childbirth, and I'm just thinking I would be in the fetal position after trying to go through childbirth. But I mean, so walk us through that time.
It makes no sense.
You have a freaking kid, and then you're like, oh, well, time to clock back in the next morning.
Yeah. Well, the day before I was at camp, and I remember two camp coaches kind of got in a little argument, and, I had to settle that down in between contractions, and then, you just do what you got to do. But it makes for a lot of great memories.
Certainly does. That's Robin Pingeton. Give it up for her. Best of luck to her team Thursday. Jeremy Washington and Jay here. Dylan Riggs in Learfield. I'm Brad Renago. This is Tiger Talk on the Central Bank Tiger Network from Learfield.
Addison's restaurants are great local spots to visit before or after all Mizzou home games. Addison's has 2 locations to choose from in Southwest and downtown Columbia.